send liquid natural gas to places like Europe. And what we found was none of us will be able to pay our electric bills. So if you want to screenshot this, look it up, or I think I took a screenshot of the actual, this is the report. Office of Fossil Energy and Carbon Management, U.S. Department of Energy. It's 58 pages, MAGA. This could be the longest book you ever read. This is your chance. Screenshot this and look it up, MAGA. You could finally read something. This is the report. When you guys all believe Trump, when he's like, Biden shutting down energy exports, when we never weren't energy independent and we were just trying to save the price of your electric bill, this is the report. You probably can't read it and won't understand the graphs. But if you want to, this is it. Here it is. I have it in a PDF file. You can do it. You could do it, MAGA. This could be the thing you read. Your first book. I mean, they won't. They're not going to read anything. Now we have to move on to Epstein and you guys covering up for child S traffickers. But I just thought I'd tell you, when your electric bills go up, please blame no one but your own inability to do math and or read.
At a press conference today, Donald Trump finally condemned Jeffrey Epstein. Let's listen to what he condemned him for.
For years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein. I wouldn't talk because he did something that was inappropriate. He hired help. And I said, don't ever do that again. He stole people that worked for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And I threw him out of the place, persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth.
The thing that Donald Trump thinks is inappropriate that Jeffrey Epstein did is that he stole the help. He uses the phrase the help. Jeffrey Epstein hired people away from Mar-a-Lago. And that is the thing that Donald Trump thinks is inappropriate. Not, the child sex trafficking ring. Not the fact that he had 14-year-old girls running through his home in Palm Beach while Donald Trump and him
were younger than 14.
And we're going to girl parties together. Not the fact that he molested and ruined the lives of so many young women, including a young woman that worked at Mar-a-Lago, actually. How depraved you have to be, how broken is your brain, where you talk about the thing that Jeffrey Epstein, the most famous child sex trafficker in the country, when you talk about the thing that he did that was inappropriate, what comes to mind is that he stole the help. He hired the help away from Donald Trump, the help. This is the man of the people? This is the man that was going to, as QAnon thought, break up the child sex trafficking ring? This is the guy that is fighting for the forgotten man? And meanwhile, he's just pissed that the people that work for him, the help, left to go work for a different guy, and that is what upset him. Truly mind-bogglingly heinous stuff from the President of the United States today. At a press conference today, Donald Trump.
Let me be clear on that, because MAGA, what you need to get is not everybody in the MAGA, I like to call it a cottage industry, is dumb, right? You are dumb. You can't read. You can't do math. You're in cognitive dissonance. You can't find your way out of a paper bag. But Trump can, right? JD Vance can. These people know they're lying to you. So if it did matter to you that someone would cover up a child S trafficking ring, you now know with 125% certainty that it's them. The call is coming from inside the mother effing house. So here's your moment. This is the fork in the road. The proverbial, that word is too big for you. I'm sorry. This is the fork in the road. Do you protect the kids, or are you like, them liberals are up to something? We're not up to anything. We have zero power in the U.S. government. Zero. We are in control of nothing. Factually, mathematically, we have no power. This cover-up is brought to you specifically and entirely by Donald Trump and the Conservative Party. Period. There's nobody else to blame. Like, we can flail around and yell and scream. This cover up is brought to you by Donald Trump and the conservatives. That's it. They have control of every branch of government. Don't look around for a conspiracy. Wait, is Obama wearing Trump's skin suit? Just like he was wearing Biden's skin suit. Maybe Obama moved skin suits, and that's not your beloved Donald Trump. It's Obama in Trump's skin. And for people who think that sounds crazy, there's a large cross-section of MAGA that believe wholeheartedly that Joe Biden was Obama in Biden's skin. And if you think that sounds crazy, then you haven't been on the internet long enough and understand that 100% they believe that shit. I don't even hear this. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I have a Brian Epstein clip to explain that. So I just want to be clear. What you just saw from the Bulwark, that was today. This is also today. Those clips I just went by, that's what it is. Like, reporters in the UK are allowed, and in the EU are allowed to ask real questions. And they're like, hey, are you over here trying to pretend like you have a trade deal with the EU to cover up the Epstein files? That's what they kept asking Trump, and he got more and more mad. And Brian Baez made a video about this. I just can't listen to Trump anymore. I already had to clip it. It's so bad.
After this clip, nobody can convince me that American media is better than European media. Donald Trump is in Turnberry, Scotland, and he went over there using our taxpayer dollars to visit his own golf course.
I just have to say it. There's no Turnberry, Scotland. Turnberry is the name of the golf course. He's in Aberdeenshire, right? Aberdeen, Scotland, where Trump's golf course is, which is called Turnberry. Sorry, for the people of Scotland, I'm just going to say the truth.
Way, it's costing us $10 million, but whatever. He was also there to meet with the European Union president to fast track a tariff trade deal. And the European media didn't really give a fuck. They asked him to his face in front of the cameras, is the reason why you fast track this trade deal so that it can distract from the Epstein files, getting him mad as fuck?
Mr. President, was part of the rush to get this deal done to knock the Jeffrey Epstein story out?
Oh, you got to be kidding with that. No, had nothing to do with it. Only you would think that. That had nothing to do with it.
Now, while this was a great moment, I don't want us to lose sight of why this is even deeper than just a gotcha question that got this motherfucker mad. Because right now, whether or not we talk about it, we are in a censorship crisis. Stephen Colbert's late night show on CBS was just canceled. Mind you, it was the #1 rated show on all late night. But because Stephen was critical of Donald Trump, they decided to fire him in order for Paramount to do a big merger deal that was a multi-billion-dollar deal. After Paramount did that multi-billion-dollar merger deal, Donald Trump made sure that if it was going to happen, it only could happen if they assigned a bias monitor. The bias monitor is literally a person who's watching all of Paramount's programming, and if anybody is ever critical of Donald Trump, they're also going to get fired. That's a bias monitor. We are in a fucking censorship crisis. Trump also cut NPR and PBS funding, so no more Sesame Street for your kids, because he called them the enemy of the people, and he's also always called them fake news. Also, in the White House press briefing room, Donald Trump turned the press pool into a MAGA echo chamber, taking out people like the Huffington Post and Reuters, who are more credible news sources, to put in Newsmax and The Blaze, which are alt-right, conservative MAGA Republican outlets. MAGA hates cancel culture, but they love cancel culture. And to be honest with you, in moments like this is the reality check that I think we all need. We take shit for granted. Our media would never ask this shit anymore. We are losing our own fucking way.
Oh yeah, and it's much worse than that. Like, I never get into this, but I'm just gonna, I don't know if people already understand this. I used to try to tell people, and then I realize, like, people in America have no idea what I'm talking about. If you believe there's a free press in America, you're clueless, right? Like, if I look at an article on Yahoo here, and an article, and then I turn on a VPN, which is based in, say, Paris, France. So my computer is telling the internet I'm in Paris, France. That same article will have different information because the information in America is being censored. And if that's why I keep like 5 different VPNs and no one ever knows where I am in the world, because no matter wherever you're claiming you are, articles will say different things. Like, that's the reality. If you believe that in America, yeah, that's the purpose of having a VPN. Oh, they're really cheap. Get one. Try it out. Like, yeah, I mean, that's the reality. Like, the news that Europe gets is different than the news we get. The news Australia gets different than, like, there's no free press here anymore. And this has been going on for a long time. I don't want, this is not like, I mean, not a long, like, this has been going on since January. Okay, so I just want to show this clip because I thought it was funny. CNN posted that, or played this yesterday.
What you're going to see hopefully tomorrow is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names. Everything's going to come out to the public. The public has a right to know. Americans have a right to know. There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children. What you're going to
remember that, Pam Bondi? But now this is all a hoax and no one knows. Oh, again, this is Donald Trump's 27th SA victim.
I'm considered number 27. I'm Donald Trump's 27th sexual assault victim. When I was doing Sports Illustrated, that's when he assaulted me. Jeffrey Epstein walked me into his office to be sexually assaulted by him.
Jeffrey Epstein walked me into his office to be SA'd by him. That's 27. But MAGA can't count and can't read. That's why I think every day I have to explain why Trump was found liable of SA. Trump confessed to his modus operandi, completely separate of this is 27. There's more than her. These people have passed polygraphs. They have corroborating witnesses. Like, it's only MAGA that can't find their way out of but MAGA cares about women. Now, I just want you to hear, because this is the future, right? Before I block Dale again, all last week Dale's like, yeah, Trump's a creep. Like, but today Dale's like, no, I backed Donald Trump. Yeah, because you're a fucking creep. But before, this is JD Vance today. And we need to be, JD Vance is 100% bought and paid for by Peter Thiel. If you want to hand this country forever to billionaires, let's put this weirdo in charge. He's also a Christian nationalist. Every single thing that Trump has done in this term, he has lied for him and he has backed. This is JD Vance this morning telling a giant lie for Donald Trump. It physically makes me ill to listen to JD Vance speak.
I guess I'm going to be that person. There are some protesters outside accusing the GOP.
Wait, by the way, we should be at like 300K. Yeah, oh my God, it's been almost 2 hours. Yeah, we should be at 300K. Let's all tap the screen. If you would like to support me the best way, this is my Cash App and Venmo. I don't know why my People's Receipts thing is gone. Also, where is it? Where's my... I don't know. It's TikTok Studio. I'll have to make another one. It used to say people's... I just realized that's gone. If you would like to support me, this is my Cash App and Venmo, or you can support me through gifts or subscriptions. Which reminds me, Lush and I Hate It gave a giveaway sub, and I was playing some clip, and then I walked away from my computer. Thank you so much for the giveaway sub. I'm trying to get to 440 subs. If you would like to buy a subscription, it's the yellow star in the bottom left-hand corner. But most importantly, when I'm doing this, I'm not crazy. Just tap the screen. And I'm sorry in advance, you have to hear JD Vance. And I don't want to scare anyone, but to me, he scares me more than Trump. Like, Trump is a senile guy who says men shouldn't wear makeup and then puts makeup on, and he like hates windmills and like things like sharks and batteries and all these things. I'm actually this guy who is owned by Peter Thiel. Has never done anything without billionaire tech money backing him. I think we should be much more worried about this weirdo. And when I ask myself, because like I have a clip of Marco Rubio later, when I ask myself, like, what the is Marco Rubio doing? Like, has he been body snatched? He's angling to be this guy's running mate, right? He wants to be his VP.
Of protecting pedophiles, and we're wondering what you think are the reasons the U.S. government should shield the client list of Epstein from the public, and what you have to say about any relevance to that here today.
Well, let me say just a couple of things. First of all, the president has been very clear. We're not shielding anything. The president has directed the attorney general to release all credible information, and frankly, to go and find additional credible information related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. He's been incredibly transparent about that stuff, but some of that stuff takes time. You've got to assemble that stuff, you've got to compile that stuff, you've got to redact some victims' names so that you protect the victims. But the president has been very clear. He wants full transparency. He's asked that from the attorney general, and I know, because I talk to her all the time, the attorney general is hard at work on that issue right now. But I think I got to make an observation that there's an interesting thing about this case that the American media seems to totally ignore.
Just want to be clear, like, because MAGA, I have to stop in the middle. I know for most of us, our brains work, so we know that Couch Boy is lying. But if you're like, because MAGA's like, oh, a white male speaking, and he's young, and he has blue eyes, and maybe he'll help me. Okay, you just heard a series of pathological lies coming out of his mouth. He is now backing up because honestly, if JD Vance, in my opinion, wanted to be president, I would be like, hey, I'm not shielding any S-traffickers. I want no part of this. Like, release all of the files. This is a series of obfuscations and lies. If that sounded good to you, then you are protecting child S-traffickers. You're like lulled. You're like, yeah. No, that's you protecting child S-traffickers. That was a bunch of lies. But this is here's a good example. MAGA, remember how you said you don't trust any Ivy League graduates? Well, here's one. Pete Hegseth's one. Josh Hawley's one. Marco Rubio's one. Why don't we... Yeah, he's a Yale. What is it? He went to Yale, right? Is this a Yale educated lawyer? I know Josh Hawley went to Yale. Ave, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo. You're amazing for today's receipts. And Jennifer, if you saw me laughing, that's what I was. Beat it again. Okay, this is just so everyone knows that I'm talking about before. Jennifer, you are so funny. I can't. You make me smile all the time. Okay, so you know how I finally blocked Dale/David again? Orange D, Dale/David. She said, beat it, Dale David. You'll never be our dad. And we all know that the only way you get any the only way you get any. Stay away from our TikTok mom. And if you don't get it, so this has gone on a long time, and it's actually even funnier than you think. So remember when I used to do lives with Jay with RTP? When I stopped, which, oh my God, we're almost coming up on a year, which I think was September. Jennifer has sent these hilarious messages anytime I do a live with another man. She's like, is this our daddy? Is this our TikTok daddy? When are you going to get us a stepdad? So it's even funnier than you even think. Jennifer, you make me laugh so hard. The brilliant people on the internet, keep me, sane. I swear to God. I think, when Jennifer says find us another daddy, she means, someone to do lives with, I will. Jennifer, I will find you a stepdad. Just stay calm. I just don't want to make the same mistake I did before. Do you want me to find you a dad and then leave him? You can only marry 8 people in the United States. Like, let me figure it out. You'll have a father.
Years under Joe Biden's Department of Justice, the media didn't give a damn about the Epstein files or about the Epstein case. For literally 20 years, the story about this scumbag, and
Sorry, I need to just go through that lie, because that's a big... JD Fix is such a liar. Like, he is such a liar.
the American media seems to totally ignore. For 4 years under Joe Biden's Department of Justice, the media didn't give a damn about the Epstein files or about the Epstein case.
I'm sorry. What Joe Biden did was hold the only person accountable for the Epstein file. Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail because of Joe Biden and Merrick Garland. And the media very much covered that. I watched it as a child, as abuse victim. I watched it with bated breath. Like, what the... The only person who's ever been convicted in the Epstein files was because of Joe Biden and Merrick Garland. Period. Everyone else, the sweetheart deal, because I'm going to show Republicans lying through their teeth all day long. The sweetheart deal, that was Ron DeSantis. That was a state deal in Florida, right? That was Florida letting child S traffickers off. The Epstein investigation where he turned up no longer with us, that was Trump. And Trump's like, get over it. There's no there. Trump controls the entire government. Every Democrat in the House and Senate voted to release the Epstein files, and the Republicans did not. Like, get it right. There's only one faction of people covering up the Epstein files. And when September comes, which don't worry, these clips are coming, because I love Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna. They were on ABC yesterday, just being like, as soon as September comes, those files are getting released.
For literally 20 years, the story about this scumbag, and he is a scumbag pedophile, Jeffrey Epstein, he's dead now, but for 20 years, you had Obama and George W. Bush's Department of Justice go easy on this guy. They didn't fully investigate the case. They didn't show any curiosity about the case, and now Donald J. Trump...
Did anyone hear what he did? This is why MAGA's brains don't work. So he's like, George W. Bush and Obama. Then he's like, and Joe Biden didn't do anything, even though the only person in jail is because of Joe Biden. And who was in between there? Anyone that can do the math? Oh, Trump's first term. That's right. Like, Couchboy thinks you're an idiot. Couchboy is an Ivy League educated lawyer, MAGA, who thinks you are dumb. He thinks your brain does not work. Prove him wrong, or don't, or just be like, yeah, I want to swallow this lie just like I swallowed every single other lie that Donald Trump gave me. I want to guzzle these lies down. I love to swallow. MAGA, you swallow lies like I've never seen. I've never seen people swallow lies as fast and as happily as you do. Just extreme swallowing. Every single day, extreme swallowing from MAGA. Swallow it down. Just, and then the cog, and like, how am I going to justify the, how does this make sense? How does this make sense? Obama's wearing Trump's skin. Obama's wearing Trump's skin. That's what it is. Obama's wearing Trump's skin. Like, you guys are idiots and you keep swallowing. Idiots who swallow. JD Vance is saying, hey, MAGA, look at me. I'm 40 years old and I have blue eyes. I'm an Ivy League educated lawyer who's insulting your intelligence. Are you dumb enough to follow me?
Is asking his Department of Justice to show full transparency, and somehow that's a criticism of Donald J. Trump and not Barack Obama and George W. Bush. If you want to criticize the people who aren't showing full transparency, you ought to go after the administrations that went easy on Jeffrey Epstein, the administrations that concealed this case for 20 years, and the administrations that failed to show full transparency. Donald J. Trump, I'm telling you, he's got nothing to hide. His administration has got nothing to hide, and that's why he's been an advocate for full transparency in this case. He's going to keep on being an advocate for full transparency, but while we're focused on that case, Donald J. Trump is also worried about making sure these great workers get more take-home pay and better jobs, and that's the focus of the administration.
MAGA, don't spit it out. Swallow it all. Don't spit it out. Swallow all of that bullshit from JD Vance. Couch Boy just insulted your intelligence like 27 different times. Make sure you swallow, or your other choice is to join us in reality and recognize a cover-up when you see one. You have control of every part of government. There is no reason, if those files, at any moment, those files can come out. Even Elon Musk is very, on this one thing, for some reason, he seems to just be telling the truth. Actually, and I want to say this, if he had gotten his subsidies and the bribes he wanted, like in the big, beautiful bill, would Elon Musk care about children? I don't know. I want to believe he would, but I don't think I believe that. But as a result of not getting the bribes that Elon Musk wanted, now he is, telling the truth about Epstein. I'm just pointing this out. He was right. Right? I mean, that's Elon Musk is like, yeah, Epstein's Trump's all up in those files. Remember that? I guess and believe me, nobody would say that on the internet if it wasn't true, because you could be sued within an inch of your life. That's the moment. The moment that Elon Musk said Trump's all in the Epstein files, that's when I was like, no, I knew before for several other investigative reasons because my brain works, but I was like, man, well, let me circle back. That's when I knew it was coming out. That's when I knew journalists knew. That's when I knew Trump was desperate to cover it up. That's when I knew Elon Musk was going to help him until Trump betrayed him. That's when I knew all that. And Couch Boy's like, Trump would never cover anything up. Okay, weirdo. Remember this? Fellow Christians, everyone is watching us when we apologize for this man. Lord help us. Does anyone remember this tweet from JD Vance? I do. Does anyone remember when he called him Mustache Man? Were you lying then, or are you lying now? This is a man with biracial children who's cheering on. Oh, God, I can't even. But I'm just pointing out. By the way, what the F happened to Vivek Ramaswamy? Is he still alive? Someone check on Vivek. Being brown on the right is not safe. Remember when he was part of Doge? Is he gonna make it? Does anyone know where Vivek Ramaswamy is? I know. I heard he was. Is he actually running for governor, though? I think that's not happening anymore. That's not going to work. Have you been to Ohio? I'm too brown for Ohio. He's not going to be able to. He's not going to be check the effort. He's not going to be able to run for something in Ohio. That will never work. Okay, so this is good. This is yesterday. So again, the clock is ticking. I think that's why Trump seems so desperate, because I think Beto nailed it when he's like, God, he's flailing around. This is real weird, because the discharge petition has ripened. August, the Congress is off. When the House is back in session in September, they're going to vote to release the Epstein files. And Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, who are leading the discharge petition to do that, and they've already collected the signatures. They were on, God, I hate Kristen Welker, but she was less annoying yesterday.
Let me delve into this with you. We will get to Johnson in just a moment. The Department of Justice says they will not be releasing further Epstein material in order to protect what they say is more than 1,000 victims, many of whom were underage. I want to read you a little bit of a DOJ memo which writes, quote, sensitive information relating to these victims is intertwined throughout the materials. One of our highest priorities is combating child exploitation and...
So Obama didn't write the Epstein. Hold on. It can't be both. So MAGA, this is your moment. Do you realize? Wait, so Obama didn't write the Epstein files? There's 1,000 children that need to be protected. James Comey didn't make this all up. Oh, there's real children we should be protecting. That's so strange. So both things can't be true. So Trump has been covering up a child trafficking ring. For sure. We know for sure that he was told that he was all up in the files in April. Now we have victim after victim coming out, passing polygraphs, saying I reported twice to the FBI. We have all of these people we know said that all of this happened. And now we're hearing that they're trying to protect children. But I thought Obama made all of this up. It's just so weird. So which lie are you going with, MAGA? Do your brains work? Which lie are you going to believe? Which one sounds better to you? Which one can you swallow easier? You guys are idiots.
Bringing justice to victims, perpetuating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither one of those ends. What is your response to the concern that releasing these files could ultimately hurt the victims, Congressman Matt?
All the victims who are now adults say they want them released. That's what I would say.
See.
Well, look, that's a straw man. Roe and I carefully crafted this legislation so that the victims' names will be redacted and that no child pornography will be released. So they're hiding behind that. We're trying to get justice for the victims and transparency for America. And so, we've redacted things before. We don't want to hurt the victims. We're doing this for the victims. I think it's just something that they're hiding behind. And at the end of that statement, I heard something about conspiracy theories or something like that. Look, they're the ones, it's the president's own attorney general, FBI director, and children who said that, and vice president, who said that these files need to be released. We're just trying to hold their feet to the fire.
Well, let me delve into this with you.
God. And I don't love, Thomas Massie annoys me on other issues, but at least there's one person on the right that's like, hey, I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. I'm finding him more and more likable every day that goes on.
House Speaker Mike Johnson has defended that decision. He says, look, the White House is already pushing for the release of the grand jury materials. Obviously, that's been held up in court. He's accusing you of trying to inflict political pain on your party by criticizing him for adjourning the House early. Is he right? Are you trying to inflict political pain with this criticism?
I don't know why it should be politically painful to be transparent. Is the pain he's talking about that somebody in our party will be embarrassed by those files? Then that's not a good excuse. Is the pain he's talking about is that the legislators, when they vote, have to pick between protecting embarrassment of the rich and powerful versus getting justice for victims? I don't really understand what he means by that. Why is it painful for Mike Johnson to call a vote on this? And it's, the American people deserve this, regardless of what the political ramifications are for the speaker.
House Speaker Mike Johnson.
Preach. Truly, what is painful if you actually care about children? And I'm going to blow your mind, MAGA. If in fact you decide you do, then we need to talk about real math and what every piece of legislation that has been brought in the last 20 years has done to damage children's lives in this country. You don't care about children mathematically. You're engineering their ability to thrive out of existence, period. But if you care about this, allegedly, right? I mean, this is just the start. This was your cause. This is your cross to bear. Do you care or not?
So Congressman Khanna, we had this rather extraordinary visit to Florida of Todd Blanche to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you agree with those who say that she should testify, wanting her to testify before Congress? I do. I have skepticism, given she was indicted of perjury, given she has a motive for getting a pardon. I didn't love that Todd Blanche was meeting with her allegedly one-on-one, but I'm for all the evidence coming out. It's important, though, that this is not something that is anti-President Trump. This is for transparency. I'm less concerned about his mentions. I'm much more concerned about the hundreds of people who were powerful and rich who had impunity, and I'm concerned about restoring justice for the victims. He promised to expose this. I think the American people don't think he's a perfect person. They thought he was going to expose a system that wasn't working for them, and that's really what this is about.
What would be the reaction if he actually went through and did some form of clemency, granted some form of clemency to Ghislaine Maxwell? Congressman Khanna?
Well, I think people would say, why is he doing that? And can we really believe Maxwell's testimony? I mean, I don't love the broad pardon power in the first place. I think it has been abused. I think at this point, though, what the American people desperately need is for all of the evidence and the files to come out so they can decide for themselves. So they're not relying on Maxwell. So they're not relying on even congressional committees. Let the American people decide.
And how would you react to a pardon or a clemency?
I don't think she deserves that or needs that. I mean, she's guilty of crimes, but it's hard to believe that she herself and Epstein did these crimes by themselves, right? Yeah. So it's time to find out who else was involved. And I agree with Roe here. The bank records don't lie. The documents don't lie. They don't change. The plea bargains that have been sealed don't lie. Let's release those.
So Congressman Khanna, we had this...
Oh, preach. Amen. Follow the money.
There was this story in the Wall Street Journal about a birthday message that the Journal reports that Trump wrote to Epstein for his 50th birthday, and it is part of a book of messages. Obviously, the president denies that he did this. He's suing the Wall Street Journal over it. But would you support something that Congressman Khanna has been calling for, which is pressing the estate of Jeffrey Epstein, subpoenaing the estate to turn that book over?
Well, I think we should get a lot more than just the book. Let's get the financial records of the estate. Follow the money, as they say up here. We should look at the plea bargain, open that up, see what was the deal that was cut. I think there's a lot more than just that letter, but that letter is also sort of representative of something that's embarrassing but not illegal. Another reason why these files may be sealed and stay sealed. But we're going to force a vote on this when we get back from the August recess. Ro Khanna and I are using a procedure in the House called a discharge petition, whereby if we get 218 votes, and we're well on our way to that, 218 signatures, then we can force the vote.
So you're just going to need a couple more Republicans to sign that if Democrats go along. Are you going to get that?
If every Democrat signs this, I've already got 12 Republican co-sponsors, and I only need 6 to sign it.
But will they sign? I mean, will they? Because that's taking control.
Absolutely, they'll sign. Stop being weird. Of course, what he's saying is, just to be clear, we needed 6 Republicans. We have 12. We have the mother effing votes. And come September, it is judgment day for creepy rich people that have been touching children. I mean, MAGA, this is what you wanted, right? You should be happy. And not gaslighting and being like, grand jury testimony, there's nothing in it. The real Epstein files in their entirety should be released. We should figure out who has done what. And I just want to be clear, because on Saturday when I was debating, it was like, what about Bill Clinton? Great. I have said this. He creeps me the F out. First of all, I mean, just the Monica Lewinsky thing, we owe her a giant apology. Let me explain to you how things work in corporate America. If you are here and then there's someone on this tier of employment and you engage in any type of physical or sexual contact with them, you're guilty. It's called using a position of power to coerce people. That's it. That's the whole story. I don't understand why people don't get it. The president of the United States had some intern who is in a much lower position of power. Guilty. I mean, It's not hard to understand. And I'm not even talking, I don't, well, and I have the clip. I don't know if we're going to get to it. But Trump keeps being like, well, I didn't go. Wait, what did he say? Never mind. I need to show you guys right now because this is how sick Trump is. He's really gross. God, this is the grossest thing. I mean, he said so. Well, I do think you should hear all the gross things. He said many gross things today. Ugh, they're so gross. Actually, first, let's hear from 2 Epstein victims. Again, this is Virginia Guffrey. Because I keep saying this. On Friday, I gave 2 recommendations of documentaries because I'm saying I want people to understand that the victims of Epstein do not want Ghislaine Maxwell pardoned. They are horrified by the idea that this woman who groomed, terrorized, and also essayed them would get away without punishment.
She did it because she loves the control over people. Jeffrey was a sick pedophile, but she was the mastermind.
What would justice look like for you when it comes to Ghislaine Maxwell?
I would like to see Ghislaine stay in jail forever. I would like her to apologize for what she's done to me and so many others.
Yeah, I mean, truly. This is Maria Farmer, who's passed polygraphs.
I've never met a more predatory, terrifying human being in my entire life, and neither had Virginia Giuffre, and neither has Annie, or Anushka, or many girls like Shantae Davies. There's hundreds of us that were preyed upon by Ghislaine Maxwell. She's a very dangerous person, and she threatened my life on many occasions. I've had to move and be in hiding because of this predatory child predator and just victim predator. So it's completely unacceptable for anyone to call her a victim. The woman is not a victim. She's a victimizer. I've never met a more...
If you're wondering why she's saying that, that's because Trump has Newsmax. Trump has people on Fox. Well, on Newsmax directly calling Ghislaine Maxwell a victim who should be pardoned. And on Fox, he has people implying it. Ghislaine Maxwell is not a victim. She also engaged, and someone asked what documentaries on, if you have access to Stars, it's called I Am Ghislaine Maxwell. I was just noticing this weekend, there's another, hold on, I think I started on my watch list. There's another one on Netflix as well about Ghislaine. And you need to understand that there is nobody these people were also, Ghislaine Maxwell, Filthy Rich is on Netflix. But the one on Stars, I Am Ghislaine Maxwell, it's people from the UK in her past. Like, you have to understand who her dad was, like how much wealth this woman comes from. She's disgusting. She trafficked a bunch of poor children to a billionaire to be exploited and used. And then Trump is feeding to Newsmax and other outlets that she's a victim. And okay, so I was playing the interview of Gavin Newsom at the beginning of this live. That was, he was being interviewed by Brian Tyler Cohen, but Brian Tyler Cohen is a brilliant lawyer, and he was just, demonstrating a line of logic. This is what MAGA can't do, because when you follow a line of logic, then you'd have to come to the conclusion that Trump's a piece of shit.
Let's just use some basic human common sense. You've got a guy who, when he wanted votes from people who care about the Epstein files, said, let's release the Epstein files. And then he filled his cabinet with people who said, let's release the Epstein files. And all of them banged that drum over and over and over for months and years. And then they won the election, and they took power, and they could finally substantiate the very things they vowed to do, and they promised to do them. And then one day, they said the files just didn't exist and the case was closed. And then a few days later, they said, okay, actually the files do exist, but they're fake. And then they said the files were actually forged by Obama, even though Obama never released the files that he purportedly forged. And now they're saying, forget about all of that. And in fact, Obama should go to prison, but for something completely unrelated to the Epstein files. So we should all just talk about that instead. And everybody needs to stop talking about Epstein. Judging based on those facts, just as normal human beings with a normal amount of common sense, do you think that maybe, just maybe, Trump might be covering something up? Do you think that maybe his story isn't checking out? Do you think that if a Democrat did what Trump is doing right now, that Republicans would just buy their story? Something tells me that there would be investigation after investigation in every single committee, prodded on by nonstop news coverage on every single right-wing network. And guess what? They would be right to do that. Let's just use some basic human...
And that's how a line of logic is followed without it collapsing in on itself, Matt. Sorry, I just can't. I find it so funny because MAGA, it's just debating on Saturday. I was just like, man, these people are so dumb. There's no hope. Someone asked who he is. Here, Brian Tyler Cohen. He's amazing. He's on TikTok and stuff, but like, I think primarily, like, if you want to see his stuff live, follow his like podcast on YouTube. Brian Tyler Cohen. And he's also, I'm not saying hang out on X, but he's really active on X. It's a scary place for mental health. But yeah. He also does an amazing podcast with Glenn Kirshner, who's a former federal investigator. Brian Tyler Cohen is amazing. I just want to hear this again. This is how I know MAGA's done. Because, I mean, I can do these lines of logic all day long, but I'm just a woman with a tiny brain talking. So let's listen to a white man who passed the bar, who's beholden to the ethics of the bar, say it again.
Let's just use some basic human common sense. You've got a guy who, when he wanted votes from people who care about the Epstein files, said, let's release the Epstein files. And then he filled his cabinet with people who said, let's release the Epstein files. And all of them banged that drum over and over and over for months and years. And then they won the election, and they took power, and they could finally substantiate the very things they vowed to do, and they promised to do them. And then one day, they said the files just didn't exist and the case was closed. And then a few days later, they said, okay, actually the files do exist, but they're fake. And then they said the files were actually forged by Obama, even though Obama never released the files that he purportedly forged. And now they're saying, forget about all of that. And in fact, Obama should go to prison, but for something completely unrelated to the Epstein files. So we should all just talk about that instead. And everybody needs to stop talking about Epstein. Judging based on those facts, just as normal human beings with a normal amount of common sense, do you think that maybe, just maybe, Trump might be covering something up? Do you think that maybe his story isn't checking out? Do you think that if a Democrat did what Trump is doing right now, that Republicans would just buy their story? Something tells me that there would be investigation after investigation in every single committee, prodded.
But MAGA's dumb. So we can't, unfortunately, like to the rest of us whose brains, you don't have to be a genius. Like you know what I mean? Like you just have to be basically just think like, hey, in the last 3 months, Trump told me 12 different lies about the Epstein files. I now know to be patently, undeniably, irrefutably false. Why would he make up 12 different lies on all these different days, flail around, pretend like he had never said the lies the day before and make up a new one? You know, I mean, if you can't get there, MAGA, we can't take you there. You know what I mean? There's no way to do it. Do you guys want to hear Trump in Scotland tell these lies about these files? Because I clipped it like this morning. He's like, oh, these files are a hoax, like it's all made up. Do you want this is him in Scotland today.
You had said that you have not been briefed on the Epstein files, or your name has not appeared in the Epstein files. But doesn't the AG have to tell you if your name is...
Well, I haven't been overly interested in it. You know, it's a hoax that's been built up way beyond proportion. I can say this, those files were run.
This is how I know Trump's like senile, right? He cannot remember the lies he tells. Like, we've now come full circle. Like, Okay, last week you admitted it wasn't a hoax, and he forgot, and he's old orange grandpa who says men shouldn't wear makeup but puts a full face of makeup on every day, forgot about the last week's 5 new stories, and we are literally full circle back to it's a hoax. Somebody come get orange grandpa. He's not well.
By the worst scum on earth. They were run by Comey, they were run by Garland, they were run by Biden and all of the people that actually ran the government, including the auto pen. Those piles were run for 4 years.
Yeah, the same auto pen that signed the J6 pardons. I look forward to us invalidating all auto pen pardons.
By those people. If they had anything, I assume they would have released it. The whole thing is a hoax. They ran the files. I was running against somebody that ran the files. If they had something, they would have released. Now, they can easily put something in the files that's a phony. Like, as an example, Christopher Steele, a person you know well, happens to be from...
How effing bad is it that he's back to this? Like, this was the lie from 3 weeks ago. He told 12 more lies in between, and we're back to this lie. This is how scared he is. He doesn't know which lie to tell. MAGA, do any of... MAGA, this is just request right now. You can do it. Explain to me which lie is the truth. Was it Comey? What was it, Obama? The only person that was ever prosecuted under Joe Biden. Ghislaine Maxwell was prosecuted by Merrick Garland under Joe Biden. You explain to me how any of these lies, I promise you, if you understand the timeline of this, not one word of this makes any sense. So explain to me what he is talking about. He's told many different lies, and we're now back at this one. It's hilarious.
Country. But Christopher Steele, as an example, wrote a book, a dossier. We call it the fake news dossier. And the whole thing was a fake. The whole thing
wasn't. That's actually untrue. Many things in the Steele dossier were certified as true. God, every word out of this man's mouth is a lie.
Thing was a fake. They can put things in the file that are fake, but those files were run by bad, sick people. If they had anything, why didn't they use it when I was...
So I love as someone who is raised by a malignant narcissist, I do love when they project exactly who they are onto who they're like, there's a bad, sick person out here. You mean you, Dad? Are you talking about you again, Grandpa? Orange Grandpa? Please stop projecting who you are onto the rest of us. I love when they do that. There's some bad, sick guy out here. It couldn't be me, but I don't know. I think there's some bad, sick guy running around. I think everyone should look for him. I think we could all identify him. It's not. I think we could all figure out who the bad, sick guy is.
Killing Joe, and then he gave out because he was 25 points down, and then I got somebody new. Nobody.
He didn't mention Hillary. No, but you know what's funny about that? Yesterday on Fox News, John Radcliffe, who is now running the CIA and is a complete weirdo, said he was going to prosecute Hillary Clinton for the same thing that now today Trump doesn't mention Hillary Clinton, but says there's evidence that Joe Biden or that Obama, James Comey, did it. I have the clip, but like the director of the CIA was talking to Liarton, Maria Bartiromo yesterday, being like, we're going to prosecute Hillary Clinton for this. I'm telling you, I read every page that Tulsi Gabbard released on this. I put it into an AI tool and started asking it questions. There's no new information in any of it. It's all a lie. And that's how I know MAGA's dumb. Because I debated on Saturday and they're like, yeah, Obama's up to something. Just don't say that. Just enter the live and say, I can't read. Like, that would be more honest.
Didn't know anything about it. She was a horrible vice president. She was a border czar, but she never went to the border. She never once called a border patrol agent to find out how we're doing. But she was the border czar. Her name.
That's a lie. Old grandpa cannot keep things straight. Oh, here's where he says he doesn't draw things.
For the election, yeah.
Do you think that drawing, I think I heard you say something the other day, that the drawing that was the subject of the Wall Street Journal report.
I don't do drawings. I'm not a drawing person.
Do you think it was fraudulent?
I don't do drawings. Sometimes people say, would you draw a building? And I'll draw 4 lines and a little roof, for a charity stuff. But I'm not a drawing person. I don't do drawings of women, that I can tell you. They say there's a drawing of a woman, and I don't do drawings of women.
Just want to confirm that the estate of Jeffrey Epstein has confirmed they have this book and the drawing is inside of it. So I can't do this. And they said they would turn it over to Congress if they wanted it. And yeah, here's all the drawings. Like, he's not a drawing person. The literal description of the drawing in that book is that it's done with a black marker. This is what you call a serial killer's modus operandi. I don't draw except when I draw. I don't do many drawings except the things I draw. But MAGA's so stupid they won't be able to figure out I'm a liar. I don't draw except for all the things I drew. It's really simple. No one will ever figure out that I'm lying. I don't ever draw except for all of the times that it has been documented that I draw, and not just with anything, right? Because I want to explain to you how artistry works. I used to fancy myself an artist. I actually am a pretty good artist. I'm like a mixed media artist. I use oils, acrylics, I use decoupage, like all sorts of things. He only has one medium. It is dumbass black marker and white piece of paper. I don't draw except when I draw exactly in the same way every single time since I was born, and it has all been documented on the Wayback Machine. And every single time I draw the exact same way. And this could all probably be authenticated by handwriting experts, but I never draw except for all the times I draw. Yeah, we got it, dumbass. How dumb are you, MAGA? How dumb are you? This is the moment, MAGA. How dumb? We're playing a game called How Dumb Are You? Are you this dumb? Are you this dumb? Are you? Or are you not? Like, you are, though. I know it. I already know. I've played this game for years now. You are, in fact, this dumb.
And also, Epstein was always a very controversial guy. I was at a very high position, pretty much all my life. In all fairness, I've been...
Allegedly, he only drew pubes. No, Lucky, his signature was the pubes. He didn't only draw out pubes. His signature was the pubes, which can be authenticated by a handwriting expert, which rumor in the journalist world, and on Capitol Hill blogs, is that's part of the reason that the Wall Street Journal was confident they could print it. It's because the pubes was, in fact, his signature. That was AutoPen. Yeah, which AutoPen is an exact replica of his signature. No, it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, quite literally, we're not... MAGA, are you this dumb? Is today the day when you're like, God, I'm so embarrassed by how dumb I am. I think I should stop being dumb. Maybe today's the day, MAGA. One or two of you could stop humiliating yourselves by your own idiocy. We never know when one or two of you might be like, God, I'm tired of being embarrassed and supporting child trafficking. Maybe I'll stop being an idiot today. We have no hope for any of you, but I'm just pointing out that you are on the wrong side of history. You are supporting child traffickers. All that bullshit we had to listen with your tiny pea brains about the deep state. You are protecting the very people that you said you wanted to root out. They just weren't who you thought they were because you're an idiot. You have been exploited in every single way. and you are idiots. And it's just like, hey, are you going to ride this train to the end? Or are you going to hop off it? That's the only question. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I can't listen to some of this stuff. Here's another one.
People keep writing stories that attorney threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. Can you settle that? What was it about? What caused the breach with him?
That's such old history. Very easy to explain, but I don't want to waste your time by explaining it. But for years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein. I wouldn't talk because he did something that was inappropriate. He hired help. And I said, don't ever do that again. He stole people that work for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And I threw him out of the place, persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it. I'm glad I...
Just to be clear, the first lie was it was over a real estate dispute. The second lie was that it was because Jeffrey diddled a child of a member of Mar-a-Lago. And now we find out that Trump was like, I'm exploiting brown people. And now you're trying to steal the brown people I'm exploiting. And I don't like it. So again, MAGA, it's so great to figure out who this person is. Again, you were wrong about that. Oh, and here we go. I love when 3PDOs are like, wait a minute, don't blame me, blame the other 3PDO, because he's a worse 3PDO. That's the best defense. I think he should probably mount this defense in court. Hey, just because I'm a creep doesn't mean there's not worse creeps.
That was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth. And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island, and I did turn it down, but a lot.
He never had the privilege of going to a I never had the privilege of going to 3PDO Island. Hold on, can we hear it? After being like throwing other 3PDOs under the bus. Don't look at me, look at these 3PDOs I used to hang out with. But I never went to the island. By the way, because my brain works, so let me help you, MAGA. Every single court case that we can mount has to be within U.S. jurisdiction, right? Everything we've ever had, the Epstein files, they're about that townhouse, that creepy ranch in New Mexico, and Palm Beach. We don't have jurisdiction of that island. And you know what's funny when Trump's like, I never been to the island. Well, it's funny because you employed lawyers who went to that island. You put somebody who went to that island in your cabinet. Super weird that it seemed like you were super close with all the people who had been there.
I never had the privilege of going to his island, and I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island.
One of my good moments. He just confessed, MAGA. This is today in Scotland. He confessed. He confessed. He didn't say, no, he's on the Epstein flight logs 8 times, just to be clear. But again, we can't do anything about an island. Do you guys not understand how law works? It doesn't matter who went to that island. This is about the New York townhouse, the Palm Beach house, and the New Mexico house. We don't have jurisdiction. Yes, I know. Super. I've said it the privilege of going to that island. He said, in one of my better moments, I didn't go. He just confessed. MAGA's he just, I don't know. It's not. Yeah, you guys are protecting a child trafficker. You guys are creeps. We know. It's fine. Oh, I love this moment from John Oliver's show yesterday. You have to see this.
It's understandable why Trump's struggling to get even his own base to take his word for it that there is nothing to see here, because to do so, you essentially have to believe everything we've learned about Trump over the years is irrelevant or sheer coincidence, that all All Trump did was repeatedly host Epstein at Mar-a-Lago, have him at his wedding, hang out with him at Victoria's Secret fashion shows, get listed as a passenger on his plane 8 times, joke with him at a party while pointing out hot women and saying something into his ear that got the most grotesque smile in the history of human expressions. Tell a reporter, I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy, he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side, and allegedly hosts a calendar girl competition where, other than the 24 or so women flown in to provide the entertainment, the only guests were him and Jeffrey Epstein. You'd also have to forget about Trump bragging about his ability to grab women's genitals and claiming he could go backstage at his beauty pageants while women were getting dressed, something he was accused of doing by 5 Miss Teen USA contestants, and once remarking of his own infant daughter Tiffany that she's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this yet, but time will tell. Beyond that, though, there's nothing there. Except for a jury finding him liable for sexual abuse, but other than that, there's nothing to see. It's understandable why Trump's...
Again, this is how I know you're dumb. This is how. If you're ever like, God, why is she so sure we're dumb? Because I can read, I can do math, I have the ability to follow a line of logic, I can use deductive reasoning, and thereby, I am 100% sure you are dumb. That's it. And you are covering up child trafficking. And it's despicable, and you are on the wrong side of history, and you will be remembered as such. That's the truth. I mean, you should enjoy it. And by the way, about Obamagate, I was remembering a clip. Remember, the guy who determined that Russia interfered in the 2016 election was Marco Rubio, the guy who's angling now, acting like Mustache Man to be JD Vance's vice president on the 2028 ticket. Remember when he was saying this? This is 2017.
Cyber tools were used as a means to an end. It isn't necessarily what we should be focused on here. What we're talking about here is active measures. The active measures taken by the government of Vladimir Putin to influence and to potentially manipulate American public opinion for the purpose of discrediting individual political figures, sowing chaos and division in our politics, sowing doubts about the legitimacy of our elections. So if you look at the situation we now face, here's the aftermath. We had an election where, after some
966-page report, MAGA, you can read about this bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee that was chaired by Marco Rubio, of which he determined everything that Trump is now saying Obama lied about actually happened.
intrusions into some state databases. There was a one nominee for president warning about fraud in the election. And then after the election, we have some on the other side questioning the legitimacy of the president-elect because of Russian interference. And we have the president-elect questioning the credibility of the intelligence community because of its findings. This sounds like a pretty effective and successful effort to sow chaos, to undermine credibility of our leaders and of our government institutions. In essence, it sounds like they achieved what they wanted, to get us to fight against each other over whether our elections were legitimate and divide us in the way that sows the sort of chaos that they sought to achieve.
That's not true. Sorry, I'm just talking about the comments. My microphone is like literally 100% louder. I'm just not screaming, right? Than this is. Like, I have an audio mixer. I can see the levels of volume they're set to. It's just sometimes I can't control the level of this audio when I record it. So it might sound louder, but it's not. Like, as far as the levels of the audio mixer and the audio mixer on my computer, no. Don't worry, I've got it. I understand how to control sound, but thank you. But again, yeah, that's Marco Rubio. I don't even know if I have this in me. And actually, I just heard my dad get home. What time is it? Oh, I'm so sorry I started late. I wanted to make sure I covered 3 hours, but I do need to take my dad to have blood drawn right now. So I'm going to have to go. I will be live with Matt, USMC Angry Veteran. I said this, he's been all over the place lately, but he's back. So tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, we will be live, and anything I didn't cover, we'll just scream at each other tomorrow and we'll show you. But yeah, the fix is in. Like, this is such a joke. It's just MAGA, you decide how far you're going to take your cover up of child abuse. Like, you decide when you hop off the child predator train. You're all on it. You just decide when you exit the train. But just keep going. Why stop now? I think that's the point. No point in stopping now. You guys are doing so great. Keep it up. So again, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be on Matt's platform, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern. See you guys there. Later, Gators. Love you.